with coding yet, then these are good to start with. Okay, and if there's others that I might not have mentioned that you are comfortable with, that you know of, feel free to put something in chat as well. Anything that I might have missed here. Now, if you are more advanced or more comfortable with programming, then there's other options for you as well. So Unity, that's a big one. So if you're good with C# programming, or maybe you've done another language like Java or C++, and you're comfortable with learning another language, Unity's a big one. For my Java developers out there who want to do maybe a 3D game, JMonkey is out there. I don't know off the top of my head if a lot of people use it, but just because a lot of people don't use it doesn't mean that you can't still start creating something, as long as it's something that you can distribute and get people to play. So that's something that you might want to look into if you are into Java. And I also have MonoGame on here. So MonoGame, it's a little less, it's not a game engine as much as a framework. And I won't get too much into details about the difference, but it is something that's less built in and more work that you have to do on your own. But MonoGame is something that I've been using to port a game that I did originally in Game Maker Studio, and it gives me a bit more control and more. I can add more functionality that I couldn't necessarily do in Game Maker Studio. But if you're interested in something like that, that's also based on C#. Okay, so these are just some ideas for you to look into. One thing you want to think about is some of these are not free. Some of them have free trials. So take a look at the sites for these resources. I know I mentioned Scratch, that's free. But take a look at some of these. MonoGame is free. Unity, I believe, is free, but if you are making a certain amount of money off of your games, which when you're getting started, that probably will not be the case, then you do have to pay like a licensing fee after a certain threshold of income. Okay, so those are some suggestions that you can start looking at. And then, of course, like I said, if you are someone who is more comfortable with programming and you don't necessarily want to use a game engine, there are languages out there that you can use. HTML5 for web-based games that you can play in your browser. Or if you want to use a game engine for that, I have a student who's doing Phaser.js. He's in high school and he's making games in that, so that's something else you might want to look into if you want to do web games. And just like I said, I can talk more about some suggestions, but just keep your eyes open for some of the options that are out there. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to go too much into what a typical day is like for a game developer, unless someone really wants to go into that. But okay, so if you want more information, there is a couple of resources here. So you can get my email address here, contact@cloudyheavengames.com. If you want to see my projects, there's my itch.io site. So itch.io is like a marketplace for independent game developers and content creators. So you'll see there that I have the main game that I'm working on right now is Brain Bouncer. All right. But I have also a couple of little demos that I put together to take around to different conferences and see what people liked. Brain Bouncer is the one that that people really liked and that I'm focusing on. But I also have some writing projects there. So if you want to, I have a couple of things about like how I got started with my game company, some programming specific things like how to become a better debugger, things like that. There's my Twitter if you want to follow that. And there's also there's a link that I'm going to, I'll put this in chat as well. It's an in-progress document that goes into way more detail about how to get into game dev. Okay, so and I'll just let's look at that together right now. Let me stop sharing, presenting here. But so this is the document that I linked here. And like I said, it's in progress, so I'm always trying to add to it. I'm a little behind on it, but nevertheless, the first thing that you'll see here is if you do want to contact me, but you don't feel comfortable sharing your email address or whatever the situation may be, there's a SurveyMonkey link here. So you can go there anonymously and you can leave feedback or questions about what we've talked about or about the document. And if you do that, you need to keep an eye on the document, because I won't be able to email you, right? But you can ask me questions that way, or give me feedback on this document, or anything that you would like to see or learn more about. This document also goes into more detail about some of the game development rules. So I think there's so I have some bullet points that go into some of the more preparatory activities that you can do. And you'll notice a lot of them actually focus on actually playing games and starting to think critically about the games that you're playing, right? Things like what makes the game fun, what works and what doesn't. What is the game interface like, the user interface? So how does the player interact with the game? Let's see. Other questions. Well, yeah. So if there were things that you would change, what would you do? So that's what I mean when we're talking about getting into that game design mindset, right? So those are things that you can do, and I know that in a lot of cases, if you're taking a class for something, in most cases they wouldn't tell you to play games, but when you're getting into game development, then your homework is actually playing games. So that's kind of fun too, right? Programmer, there's, I go into more detail about some of the specific types of programming that you can do, like network programming, graphics programming, AI, that sort of thing. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, so I'm sure there's things that I could add here, but this hopefully gives you a good overview. More information about the education and some guidelines. So if you're trying to think about what specific languages, take a look at this programmer section here. And I think artists might be the last one that I have like this bullet point breakdown for. I'm still going to have to go back and do something for the rest of these, so that this is the to be continued sort of thing. Okay. If you're still not sure what to do next, and if you have a game idea of your own, oops, sorry, my computer's popping up with something. Okay. No. Okay. So if you have a game idea and you're still like, okay, well, how do I get started? Even if I'm not necessarily going to start programming yet, one of the big things that I also recommend is starting to write your game idea down. Okay. So if you take a look here, there's some steps about how to start writing a short description of your game. And you will also see that I have links to an example of a 30-second sort of or couple of paragraphs overview of the brain bouncer game that I mentioned. So you can take a look at that here. There is also a section about how to do a concept document. So concept document is really 1 to 2 pages that gives an overall high-level view of your game idea. Okay, so this is really good when you're starting to think about putting together a team and you want them to know what sort of game they will be working on. And when, like I mentioned, when we're going through like the programming tutorials and other things, and we're talking about how does that apply to the games that I want to make, if you start putting together like this concept document and answering some of the questions that we have in here, that will allow you to more easily sort of map the skills that you're learning to the features that you're going to have in your games. Okay, so what I have here, the suggested activities and resources for learning how to write down your game idea. At some point I will add like a more detailed and I do have like a presentation I did about how to do like a more detailed game design document, which really goes into like I said, a lot of detail, and that can be those can be pretty long, but start with the basics of writing your game idea down. Okay. If you're still not sure about what to do, I have another list here of the next action steps that you can take. Okay. So if you are in school, or if you are into, and able to do online courses, think about what classes you might want to take, in the upcoming school year. Like I said, if you're in school, the school year is kind of coming to a close, right? You can start planning ahead. or go on to some of these online course sites and see what skills you can learn there. I also have that link to Scratch that I mentioned, so you can do that. I have a link again to the to some of the concepts documents, help, right? Um, there's also another questionnaire that I have here, and let me just go ahead and open this here. Um, it's one of the things that I do for people as a service is I help them write game design documents, right? Because I've done software design documents professionally, and I've done my own like design documents. So this is a list of some of the questions that I like to ask um, people when I'm trying to get an idea, and helping them to think through their game ideas, right? So there's a lot here. You'll notice some of these might or might not apply to your game. You might need other questions and things to fill out. So just go through and start adding the details as they apply to you. Okay, so you've got that. And then the other thing that I have here is, we talked about playing games as an exercise, and here's here's the some of the questions that we ask here that I'm asking you to ask yourself. Okay, so you want to take a look at that as well. And then I've started out building out some of the recommended resources. I've got some things that I've put together here. Other things, I'm going to go back and fill this out because I actually have on another page some other resources. Yeah, somewhere there. Yeah, somewhere in here, there's also another activity. Yeah, so also on this document, there's a link to a game that a very basic HTML5 game, a JavaScript game that I put together as a little demo. And what I used to do is I used to do this live with students in person, where we would install this on computers, right? But again, since we've had this pandemic and everything, I've started moving it online. So basically, the idea here is this is a game that you can play. As you're playing that game, there's a little bit of information about the programming that goes into this, the language that we're using, and there's a tab here where you can edit the game, and it kind of walks you through how you can make some changes to the game. So, like here, anything you see with this blue bar in the text editor, I'm sorry, in the text field, that means you can edit it, right? So if I change some of these things, if I change this to true, and maybe change the enemy speed to 2, you can try some of the code changes, and you can start playing, and you'll see that that it makes some changes to the game. So you can start thinking about, okay, well, how can I make this more difficult, or how can I make it a little bit easier, or how can I change the look of the game? So you can do things like background color, change the enemy sprite, and there's some instructions there to sort of walk you through that. So this, like I said, it's really, really basic, but it's for beginners who have not done any programming and are just starting to think about game design. But I think even in this basic, simple game, there's a lot there that you can really start to chew on in your mind, as far as what really goes into making something even as basic as this. Okay, and then here, there's more resources. This was I presented this for the DC Public Library, but these are some books that might be available, like on Amazon or wherever you get books, or maybe in your own library. Okay, so um, that's really kind of like the overview that I wanted to give you guys here. Let me go ahead and open this up for questions. If anyone wants me to go through anything in more detail, or if they have specific questions. And like I said, I'm going to go through in chat, and I'm going to put this stuff, these links and whatnot there. So, um, any questions? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Okay, great, great, great. Yeah, so I'm gonna thank you for that, and I'm gonna also go ahead and start looking at the through this chat here. So yeah. So first of all, one of the things that I said I was going to do is I'm going to get the links for all of this here. I'm going to get the links for the slides. Um, but in the meantime, here's the link to this document that I was just mentioning here. And actually, you know what? I have a bit.ly link for some of these too, because that might be a little bit easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on to bit.ly and get the short links for some of this. So just give me 1 second here. Let's see. And like I said, in the meantime, while I'm doing that, anything, if anyone wants to, I don't know if there's you can unmute yourself or how that works or anything like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. So is that how would you format like your design document or like the concept document and whatnot? So okay, so if you want to do something like that, it doesn't even necessarily have to be on a website. What you can do is you can start out by just doing it on paper, pen and paper, which I think sometimes is helpful for people. Sometimes people don't necessarily like to start um, with staring at a computer screen. But what you can do is, if you do want to start putting it online, if you have a website or a blog or something like that, there's WordPress sites that you can, if you could set up a WordPress site, I think for free, so you can do something like that. And let me think, what else can you do? So yeah, WordPress, if you want to put it on a like a forum, to give people an idea of the game that you're working on, you can do that as well. Just you might want to use like a lot of bullet points, or you might want to upload. Sometimes you can upload these things as like a PDF document, like an attachment. Um, if you want to upload it somewhere that people can see it online. So, that would really be like I think the best way to really get it online for a site. And let me also show you the um, example concept document so you can kind of see what that format looks like. And let's see, here in the chat, I'm also putting this document um, that I mentioned here. So here's the link. Okay. Okay. So let me get this brain bouncer designed or concept document that you can see here, because I think that also might answer the question about how to format things a little bit better. Okay, so let me get that open, and then the other thing that I wanted to show you was the like 30-second or 1 to 2 paragraph pitch, how that format is supposed to look. So this example from Brain Bouncer, the game, you can see this is a short paragraph that I put like on Google Play or Amazon Play Store, or whatever the case may be. So in this puzzle game, your goal is to hit yellow stars with a bouncy pinball. To do that, you must rearrange shapes and pieces on the board so that the ball will bounce off of them. There are also plenty of other obstacles and bonuses for the ball to hit and maybe avoid in some cases. It's a physics-based collision-filled challenge that tests your problem-solving skills. Okay, so you see how, like in just one short paragraph, or like if I was explaining this to someone in person, in 30 seconds, I can give you an idea of what my game is, and from that, potential players can make a decision on whether or not this sounds like something they're interested in, right? So when you're writing down your game idea, start there, because that will really help you to start solidifying your idea. And if you can start sharing that description with other people and see if it sounds interesting or if they can understand from the description what you're trying to do, then I think that's going to help you to refine and put you on the path to the next steps. And here, this is an example of the concept document that I was talking about. So you can see there's like a basic overview, like the game title, the genre, the concept. Again, that's that same description that I mentioned, but I've just put that into the concept document. Then you go into more detail about like the objective of the game, and you can break that down into like what is the purpose of the game. So like in this case, Brain Bouncer is like intellectual entertainment. It's a fun way to just do some puzzle solving. But you can also think of, okay, well, games might have other purposes. Like maybe this game, idea that I have is supposed to help teach people a certain skill, or maybe it's supposed to help first responders to practice how to simulate an event that they would have to respond to. Or there's even like advertisement games, right? A long time ago there was like a candystand.com, which is basically an online game site that was advertisements for like lifesavers and Oreo cookies and stuff like that. So think about what the purpose of your game is from that perspective, and then the player's objective. So like in my Brain Bouncer game, the goal is to move pieces on a board to sort of like do like a ping pong thing. The player objective in your game might be different. So like a fighting game might be to mash buttons or master different button combinations to beat a series of opponents until you get to the final boss. So that's the player objective there. Other things that you want to think about is like the platform. So, what do you want to play this on? PC or Android? Target audience and rating, things like that. So that hopefully gives you another idea of how to format your concept document. And if that's still, not clear, then please let me know. Like I said, you can contact me and I can help you with that. And I see would Chex Quest count as an advertising game? So that, I'm guessing that has to do with like the Chex cereal. And in that case, if my understanding or what I'm thinking of is correct, then yes, I would say that that's definitely an advertisement game. Okay. Let's see. So and then I'm also putting this in the chat here, the slides. So the game dev slides. Okay, so you've got that now. Yeah, so okay, so let's see some other questions here. Okay, so again, like I said, if we don't have time to answer all the questions, please feel free to contact me. I will be checking my email all day. And oops, I meant to. I came out of the chat here. Let me get back there. Sorry about that. Okay. So yes, there have been a lot of games for food products. Okay, so it looks like there is a documentation class that somebody mentioned there. So yeah, so that's really so please, if you have a link to that, maybe that would be helpful. I would definitely say to check that link out. Okay, so everything's let's see. Would I have a download link? Okay, yeah. So that's already there. You've got the links there. Preferred contact or place to network with Cloudy Heaven Games. Yeah. So in the slides, you've got the contact information at the end of my slides there, so you can reach me that way. Yeah. Let's see. Yes. So you have access to this document. And I think that's all it looks like that's, oh, is there any way you can zoom? Okay, so that's more about the video itself. Okay, some suggestions. All right, so yeah, so like I said, I'm still trying to, I'll stick around, and see if I can answer questions in chat. I do have some classes today because I do tutor. If you are interested in tutoring for programming or game development, you can also contact me about that. Oh, okay. So the presentation, is the presentation recorded? So I don't know if it's recorded or not, but I do have a link to a presentation that I did like this as well that is on YouTube too. So I'll put that there. So it's basically like the same content. Um, and let me put that here. Let's see. So a link to a YouTube video on the same talk. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, good, good, good. So okay, so you've got you've got both of those options available for you now. So hopefully that no, no. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Either way, I think between the two of those, yeah, you should have all the bases covered. And I think that I think looking through the chat, um, yeah, I think some of these are more about sort of like the ECGC, sort of like how this sort of works. Okay. So I know that there's supposed to be also 10 minutes for the next session. So I don't want to uh, take too much more of the time here, but um, so that's really all that I've got. Like I said, please feel free to contact me. I've got some of the links that I've posted in there are resources. There's classes and things that I'm offering, and if you just want to talk more about this, um, just hit me up on email or whatever the case may be, or you can even send me a message on Discord too. So, oh, okay, yeah. So here's my email: contact at cloudyheavengames.com. And yeah, so you can get me that way as well. And then Twitter is at Cloudy Heaven GMS for Twitter. I think email is probably the better bet, but um, you know, uh, you can whatever works best for you. And if I might have missed something, feel free to follow up with me and be like, hey, I tweeted you, maybe I might have missed it. Just feel free to follow up and poke me a little bit. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna try to check back. Like I said, I do have classes that I'm teaching today, but I'm gonna try to be around to check. Okay. Excellent. So thank y'all. I really enjoyed doing this, and um, you know, if you've got anything else, just let me know. All right. Yes, yes. So if you have other things, you know what? If you want to come back tomorrow and you want me to talk about something different, or you want me to include something, you can also send me a message, and I'll make sure to incorporate that tomorrow. So that will be like anything additional that I'll know off the bat that I can address too. So I'll be here tomorrow too. No problem. Thank y'all.
Yes, I'm wondering if we're allowed to only go
Yes.
for two. Are we allowed to only be in one or not? Oh, your session, yeah.